Hey guys, it's Matt with Thrive Off Grid. Right, so it is that time of year again. We have the 2024 CFX demo unit here. This will be the tutorial demo video for this machine. This is the final revision for this machine. I do not foresee this machine evolving any further. We will be reshifting our development focus on the Gasifier to go with the CFX, and that may possibly make it capable of running wood chip fuel as an option. But you will need the Gasifier equipment to make that possible. So, anyways, we're gonna go through basically kind of like an unboxing, even though it's already unboxed. But it's really what's in the hopper that matters anyway. This will come on a 32 by 32 pallet, be strapped down and shrink wrapped. So you just unpallet it, take it off there, and then you want to open your hopper lid. And what will be inside is your blower unit, and that'll be wrapped in a big ball of paper to protect it for shipping. So this is one change that we made this year is we made the blower removable. One is for shipping purposes, that rather than having it hanging off the back here, I could get damaged in shipping. So we removed it for that purpose. But also, when we get into the Gasifier, you may want to remove this and relocate it to a centralized filter, and that'll allow you to team like 5 of these things and run them all off of one blower. So there's multiple reasons we did this. So we'll need to install that. We'll set that there for now. And then you're gonna have your ammo box inline filter. And then inside it will be more stuff. You're gonna have your power cord for your blower. And then this is your engine adapter. So we'll go through installing that on this generator here, which we have not modified for wood gas. And then we'll get into filling this here in a minute. Put that here now. Then you'll have 2 blowers, your cold hose, your engine hose. And then this is your hot hose, pre-filter hose. And then you'll have your speed control, which we do supply you with now. Alright, and that should be basically it. Give you a look-see inside so you can see this is a virgin machine. It's never been ran. This machine is brand new. So this isn't pre-scripted or any of that. Alright, so we'll shut the hopper for now. Alright, so basically, okay, well, it looks like the camera stopped on me when I came back from getting the tool. Alright, so, but basically this clamp will be tightened down on the adapter. I'm just gonna unloosen it and redo it for you. So yeah, you just unloosen it, then bring it down. Make sure that the adapter is fully seated. And then you want to make sure that this don't twist. If it twists, you might just give it a little more. Don't overdo it. You don't want to break that. We do machine them to a pretty tight tolerance to keep that from happening. But you know, if you get in there with a an orangutan or something, don't bust that up. All right, so in the ammo box will be your power cord for your blower. This is a Deutsch connector. And then we provide you with a speed control, and that just hangs on. You can hang that on either side. And then you're going to go AC power supply. Now, to run it on a 12-volt battery, you just get a 600-watt inverter. You know, they're like 20-30 bucks on Amazon. And then that way you could use a car battery as a backup. I'm going to use the off-grid system. My power does not come from the grid, so I am running on stored energy created from these generators. Okay, so, and then, all right, so we got the hot hose. Now there's an aluminum end. So you got aluminum out here, and then you got the aluminum socket. And then the other end is plastic to plastic. So the latch side of the ammo box is the in, and then your mixer valve is the out. So we'll go ahead and get the adapter installed. So this time I'm going to try to do it a little closer than I did in the last video that I showed you this. Alright, so that's going to be a 10 millimeter. And I have my adapter here. So this is a 3D printed adapter. And these are typically 10 millimeter. And then this carburetor here is on like your Honda 390cc, the Predator 420cc, or actually it's the Lifen 420cc. This is the 459cc, so the Predator and Duramax 9000i, and then the 500cc up to basically 400 to 500cc engines, and maybe even more. But these are all pretty much standard bolt patterns. Now you can only put this on one way. If you put it on upside down, it won't fit right. It won't be aligned. Okay, and then so basically, you know, you're obviously if you're starting out with a new engine, you're going to have an air cleaner. So you're going to remove that air cleaner completely, put it in storage or something. You won't be using it with this system. A generator is sort of like a boat. You know, it's not driving around kicking up dust like a lawn tractor or a lawnmower or a go-kart or something of that nature. It's just sitting here running, so it's not gonna create dust and suck in a bunch of dust. All right, so again, this is 3D printed. Don't overdo it. You want it tight, and then you want to check it once in a while. Again, you know, it's going to be heat cycled, and this is a plastic, but it is more tolerant to high heat. All right, so yeah, and then we send you this 45. You may not need it. Not every application is going to require it, but you know, this is going to be right in the way of this, so we're going to put this 45 in here to redirect our port. The less you have hanging off this carburetor, the better. You don't want a big heavy mixer valve hanging off this. You'll shear the bolts right off the carburetor. I've been doing this a long time. This is how you separate the guys that actually test their stuff versus guys that don't. Because you know, you do this long enough, eventually you're gonna break them bolts off, and you'll learn not to do that. All right, so now I'm I'm gonna install my hose real quick. Let's try to do it quick. Alright, so that's what that looks like. Alright, so I'm going to set you guys down a minute, and then we'll start getting the gasifier ready to run. Put these tools aside so I don't step on them again. But as you can see, you know, this is pretty easy to do. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is put my filter media in. Ideally, you're going to want to run hay in this. I don't have hay, so I'm going to run, this is basically a mulch. So, and that's kind of the idea here, is to use a media that's available to you. Nothing that you're gonna buy, you know, if you gotta buy it, that's kind of a deal breaker. And then you're gonna want to put water in your water tank. I have not tested that for leaks. So the water is ready to go. Alright, so now we're going to put some fuel in it. And I'm going to show you how we process the fuel here in a minute, or at least the charcoal. I'm going to have to breathe that in. Alright, so I'm going to reposition you here. Okay, so here is my charcoal. We made this over the winter in the retort I showed you. That's going to be next on the agenda, is to do the DIY retort, the larger version. Alright, so now before you put charcoal in the machine, you're going to want to size it and get the dust and fines out of it. And this is just 1/4 inch screen that I built like a funnel type of thing out of 2x4s. And then to size your fuel, you basically just take a shovel, you don't need special equipment to do this. you can double screen it. The less dust you have, the better. The less it's going to get in the fusion, the less it's going to get in the filter, and the less it's going to get in your engine. Now, if you find pieces that aren't fully charcoalized, you can probably get away with running it, but I generally just use it in the next batch. If you notice, my fuel's all over the place. I got little tiny pieces, I got big pieces, bigger, even this guy. As long as it's consistent, it'll work. But like you have like just this in the bottom, and then you go to larger pieces, things are gonna change as the fuel changes. So that's probably good enough for this run. And it's not hard to break by hand. Alright, so that one there, I think that's an 8-gallon pail, so it'll be 20 plus 3 plus another probably 2, so it's about 25 gallons complete capacity, but the usable capacity is going to be to right about here. So what we put in from here to here, that's required for the reaction process, so you can't count that as your hopper load. So the hopper load is going to be roughly 15 to 20 gallons. All right, other than getting an AC line over here, and I need a torch to get this lit, or ignition source, I should say. Yeah, you don't need a torch to run a gasifier. You can light it with a handkerchief. We just use a torch because it's easier. It's just convenient. So that's all. All right, so I'm gonna put you on pause while I get that set up, and then we'll fire this thing up. All right, so I am set up. So all right, so let's go over some checks here. First thing you need to make sure is that you either are fully attached to an engine, or you have this installed here. If the blower is on, it's going to suck air through here, mix with the gas, and then this goes boom. And then you'll be wanting a refund. And you ain't going to get that if you do that. So don't do that. Make sure that this is all sealed. Make sure that your mixer valve is closed and the lid is secure. So we're good there. So there's no possible way that air can get sucked back through here. The engine intake and exhaust valve are never open at the same time, except for the decompression on the exhaust side, but it's unlikely it's ever going to land there, and if it does, it's not really enough air to do any damage, so it's not an issue. But if your valves are if you have both exhaust and intake open where it is a problem, then there's something wrong with your engine, not the gasifier. Right, so we made sure we're good there. You got your ignition port. All right, now when you go to put this back in here, don't crank this in there. So what happens is this thing is gonna expand, and then when it cools down, it's gonna retract, and you ain't getting that back out. So just put it in a couple turns. That's plenty. You're not trying, I mean, you got a jet here with holes in it. You're not trying to seal this, so it's not a big deal if there's you're not gonna suck air through this anyway. It's gonna come through here. So don't worry about cranking this all the way in there. Otherwise, it'll just be a problem. Now, an option, you could put a nipple here and then go to an aluminum cap like we used to use on the water tanks. That is an option. But this is the easiest and simplest way to do it, so that's how we do that. Here's your water drip valve. Everybody asks us all the time, well, where do I set that to? Where do I set it to? You open it a quarter turn. That's it. See how much water is dripping out with just a quarter turn? That's a lot of water. That's a lot of hydrogen, actually. All right. So don't get too carried away with the water. Yeah, other than that, we should be ready to go. I do need that generator was ran out of gas, but I need to make sure that this is off. And I probably should make sure. So we'll do that real quick. So I'm gonna unplug this. So the generator is still capable of running on gasoline, right? Oh, that's one thing I have to go over. Alright, so make sure that the gas is shut off and that there's no gasoline in the float bowl, because that blower is strong enough to suck the gasoline back out of the float bowl and in through the hose system. So that can be a dangerous situation. So be careful with that. Don't make sure that that's completely ran out of gasoline before you start. Yep, these generators are at their life expectancy, we'll put it that way. They're about 2.5 years old now, both of them. One's got over 3,000 hours on it. The one to the that we're not running today, and the one that we're running today has about 2,500 hours on it now. So that's why I'm doing the Duramax build. That's hopefully is going to replace these, and then we're going to take these and convert them into that type of a build. So yeah, we're not spending $2,500 on a new generator every 2 years. Instead, we'll just buy new engines for $500 and move on, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get that hose reattached. Oh, another check. Make sure you don't have any loads. So I've got the breaker turned off, and before I apply the load to this, I need to go in and readjust our EG4, because there's no way that the current setting is gonna that this is gonna run the current setting. So I'm gonna have to reduce our charging output of our EG4 charger. But we'll show you that, and then all right, so I'm gonna move on to getting this thing lit. So I'm gonna take her port back out, or ignition port plug. Our valve is open here. Everything else is closed off. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna have to light it like with a towel. So let me put you on pause a minute. This thing is a piece of junk. Unfortunately, I don't have a big torch, or just a normal lighter. All right. All right, so you want to see it's starting to glow in the nozzle. Once you see it glowing in there, then you can put your cap on. Now we have an established. That's plenty. Alright, so hopefully I can get this stupid thing to light. Alright, so that's it. We're going to go to the engine room. Let it wind down, then close this. Alright, so now we're going to prime the generator. Alright, so now we got it running. Alright, so if this is your first time running the machine, let me back up a little bit here. You know, don't go loading the thing down. Start out with 500 watts, maybe 1,000 watts at max, and run a full hopper. Do not put any more than that. Learn the machine first. Learn what it can do. If you go and try to put 3,000 watts on this thing right away, you're gonna be pushing it to the limit, and it's not gonna be very fun for you. So you wanna, just get it running first and learn what it can do. Everybody's fuel isn't gonna be the same, so. But, while we got it running, I think I'm going to unplug the power to the shop, and then I'm going to plug the splitter in. We'll do some tests of that first. Alright? So, let me set you down. Get my power cable set up. suck some stuff in the engine. Alright, so I'm having some issues. You see it smoking? That's from the media getting past the screen in this. You know what? I think I'm gonna put a Schotch Brite pad in front of that and fix that. All right. So let me put you on pause and I'll come back and we'll get this restarted. I don't know how. See that smoke? All right. So I don't know how full this looked but yeah, you can see it's sucking. What it's doing is it's sucking pieces of this filter media. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I got a Schotch Brite pad thing, and what I'm gonna do is put that in here. Sorry for this, but you know, I could edit this out and you'd never know, right? But that's not what I do here. I show it how it is. Watch out for others on the market, because they're not this honest. All right, so I'm gonna try to get it re-going. Alright, so I'm going to show you this. I'm pretty sure we got a piece of that stuck in one of the intake valve. You hear it free rolling. Alright, so I got to fix that now. Alright, back up and running. The spark plug was loose too. Yeah, I popped the cover up and the valve was fine, but the spark plug was loose, so I tightened the spark plug back up. But it's still kind of weird because it's freewheel, like the intake valve is stuck, so there's probably a piece of wood in there from the filter. So yeah, you want to put hay in there, and I'll actually show you something in the shop here in a minute. Make sure I got my water on.
Nice. Probably too much. I don't know if you can see that or not. Trying to. You want your water to evaporate before it gets to the end of the nozzle, basically. And you can see we're not smoking. Alright, so we'll go in the shop here. And I got the charger set at 10 amps. So 10 amps at like 52 volts. That's what 500 watts. The shop's pulling like 100 watts. And of course this thing isn't gonna show up, is it? No. Great. Oh, you know what? Oh, I don't have the thing plugged in. Oops. You look at the angle. Make it good powerful gas. The farther this goes, the more powerful your gas is. That valve is like almost closed and it's still running, and then yeah, you're making really weak gas. Alright, so the shop is a bit of a mess. We've been going like mad. I mean, like all these boxes, this is like all the stuff that we've taken in just in 1 week. We gotta take all those boxes out to the trash. It's kind of dying down. Oh, I wish this would pick that up. And so we're charging at 52 volts, 16% load, 9% load on the other leg. $473 watts, 268. So about 800 watts plus the 500 that's going into the batteries. So we're about 1200 watts right now. If I go, I can only bump the charger up another, it only goes in 10 amp increments. So if I add another 500 watts, that would, another 10 amps, that would give me about 1700 watts, which is about the max. But like I said, you know, when you're first running Gasifier, you don't want to overload it right away. You know, get used to it first. You know, ease into it. Otherwise, you're just gonna bang your head against the wall. But anyways, these are the fusions. You know, give you a walk around the shop here. we've got 3 more CFX units to build. And then we got four here that are getting ready for shipment. We still got to do the ammo boxes and all that, the whole system yet, and then get them palletized and ready to go. So hopefully these will all be ready to ship by the end of next week. And then I got that guy to finish. Then the kiln videos to do, and then he's wrapping up the very last DXF10. It's the last wood gasifier I am ever building. If you want a wood gasifier, you're looking at the wrong place. So I ain't never doing it again. If you're convinced that works, then good luck with that. But I've been doing it for 12 years, and I can tell you, wood gasification does not work on small engines. Period. I don't care how good of a gasifier you build; just the physics aren't there to support it. So charcoal is the only way. This machine here is a developmental machine that's going overseas. This will be one of a kind, but this is going to be networked with a Versifier. But we're shifting the Versifier development from a system like this to the CFX. And if the Versifier cannot, or if the CFX can't run on pure wood with the Versifier, then we're probably going to, we may do away with it, we may not. We may keep it for other existing wood gasification plants, but we'll have to see. It is a complex system. You know, when you start adding automation, it gets kind of expensive because that requires special skill sets. So those people are hard to find, and they generally won't work for free. But you know. But anyways, you know, you hear that thing purring away in the background, you know, and that's why I come in here and talk and, you know, bore you to death with the stuff that we do. But it's to show you how stable our machine is. This is what other people can't show you. You know, if you can't run, if your system isn't going to run for more, if you can't get this on video for more than 5 minutes, you don't have a product. You have you know, you're being deceptive. Don't buy it. No gasifier is ever going to be set it and forget it. You're running a solid fuel, and you know, you're at the mercy of how well the fuel pools are. You know, and as I showed you in the beginning, you know, inside the gasifier is just a big open vessel, so there's no place for fuel to really hang up on. Unlike a system like this, where you're trying to go through a little tiny hole with raw wood chips, it ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna flow consistent. Even with automation. That's why we have this shaker on here. That's why we have the the grate actuator. You got to have automation to keep this thing flowing. And even the best automation, it's, you know, you're still not going to get 100%, and flow is directly related to tar production. If you have a hang up with your flows, once it starts flowing again, then you have raw, unprocessed fuel in places where that fuel is supposed to be halfway converted to charcoal or pre-processed in those stages, and you're just going to make tar. There's no way around it. And you can't filter tar. When this gas is under vacuum, that's basically, the vacuum is trying to keep it in a gas state, versus where once it becomes a pressure, under high pressure, then it'll squeeze out, kind of like an air compressor. You know, that's why you get all that water in the bottom of an air compressor. It's because it's under pressure and the moisture is being squeezed out. So under vacuum, you're doing just the opposite. It's just the opposite effect. So you're not going to drop all the tar out and get it into a filter. Now, a filter will help absorb some of the moisture in the tar, but just because it's there doesn't mean it's filtering it all out. Like, don't be deceived by that. That's just not reality. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. All right, so that Schotch Brite pad. All right, so what we do is we put some expanded metal in here, And this goes on inside the ammo box, and this is what this screen is to help spread out the volume of gas that you're trying to pull through here. I mean, if you just punch a hole, you know, we'll show you here. So if I got that mounted there, and I just got this little tiny hole, you know, and I got hay in there. That hay is going to try to get through this little hole, right? And it's just going to clog it up. So we put this on the backside to prevent that. But what you can do is cut a piece of that Schotch Brite to fit inside of here, and then put it inside. Maybe we'll start doing that from manufacturer. I mean, that's pretty easy to do, so we'll probably do that. If you don't have that, then that's probably something you'll want to do, and then that'll allow you to use like the media that I used. But as you can hear, it's not spitting and sputtering anymore, and that was basically because it was sucking little chunks of wood inside the engine. But you know, it's not a big deal. Tar is a big deal, but little pieces of wood and sawdust, it's not going to hurt an engine. You know, unless it, you know, permanently bends a valve, which that is definitely possible. But yeah, it's actually unlikely. But yeah, tar is an issue. That, you know, if you get a valve stuck bad enough, you'll be removing the head. And then you got to punch the valve out. And then you got to clean all that tar out of there, put it all back together, and just to do it all over again if you keep pursuing this, because it's just the way it is. I didn't arrive here on accident. I didn't want to arrive here with charcoal. I'm probably one of the #1 people that tried to stay away from it. For a long time, I would not even consider using a charcoal gasifier or building one. And then in 2020, I did, and then a month later, I completely dropped, you know, 8 years worth of development that I was doing. And if you look at our development history, you know, we weren't building this. We were building stuff with LS V8s. We had GM engineers helping us. You know, we were building some pretty advanced stuff. They had auger systems, automated AFR controls, self-ignition systems, which is basically all that stuff is kind of getting pulled over into the Gasifier development, but differently. So it was good to go through all that, but yeah, that chapter in our development is closed. I'm done with wood gasifiers, period. Maybe if I were to do like a bigger V8, then I would consider it. And heck, I'd probably build a Wayne Keith system. His system's pretty well proven. You know, there's no point in trying to reinvent it. You know, build something that somebody's already got working. So that's probably the route I would actually go. Our systems were designed to work with an auger system, so the hopper was never full. There was always a static hopper load. And that was a big part of that design. And with a vehicle, I'm not going to have that. So I would probably go with Wayne's system, because he's got a pretty cool heat reclaim system that's in his design. So that would probably be the way to go. Plus, it runs on chunks. So you can chop up fuel with a chop saw or whatnot, a lot larger. Otherwise, you're going to need a commercial wood chipper, like they got out back there. Yeah, a little wood chipper like that ain't going to cut it. That's just going to that'll make your filter media, but that won't make fuel for a gasifier. So yeah, I think just a purring away while I hear babbling and talking. There it is.
2024 CFX RTR charcoal gasifier. You know, we'll be doing more videos. Eventually, I'm going to be running both those generators in tandem off that machine. We do want to bump the maximum application size up to 1,000 cc's. This is based on two different. The CFX is based on the DFX S3 and the S4. So it's not quite an S3, but it's not quite an S4. It's somewhere in between. So ideally, I think this machine should be able to handle 800 cc no problem. Between those two generators, that's 900 cc's, just over. So I'm pretty confident it'll run 1,000 cc's. But you know, for an off-grid system, you shouldn't need more than just a single 500 cc generator anyway. Your battery has a C rate, so you can only charge so fast anyway. So you know, it's kind of pointless to have all that power when you can't use it to run your batteries. Oh, and to you guys that want a gasifier to go off grid, if you ain't got this, that gasifier ain't gonna help you, because you'll running a gasifier around the clock. That just ain't happening. You'll throw that thing in the dump in a heartbeat. You need a battery system. There's no way around this. This is the first thing you need. You need this. Then the solar panels, that's the cheap part. Get some solar panels. 300 watts. 300 watt panel, just one. You know, if you had 6 hours of good sunlight, you know, 3 times 6, that's 1,800 watts. You know, it's free. Why would you not want to spend 200 bucks on a panel that can do that? You know, add another one. That's almost that's what, 3,600 watts. That's a lot. You know, this is for backing that system up, or use a combination where you know you got one or two of those. You got, you know, half your charge is done through the solar, and then you run that you run a hopper load through your CFX, and bam, you got, you know, a full day's worth of power. Is it doable by just a CFX by itself with a battery bank? Yes, absolutely. It is possible. I've done it myself with our DFX S3. I ran that unit all last year. It was my main power, so yes, it is doable. But you know, definitely, you know, if you're going to go this far, you know, you definitely want to get at least one solar panel if you can. All right, so this has been long enough, I think. I don't see why it's gonna suddenly die and stall now. But you know, this is the thing that this is what nobody else is showing. And you know, like I said, it's, you know, if you want something that's gonna work, you know, this is really how it is. Do you want to actually run an engine, or do you want to be fixing an engine? If you want to run your engine, then you buy a charcoal gasifier. If you want to fix an engine and constantly fiddle around with it, buy a wood gasifier. But that's the reality. At larger scale, yes, wood gasification is perfectly doable and fine. It's been done, tried, true since before World War II. You know, Wayne Case, you know, he's got like, I don't know, thousands of members. I don't know how many trucks are running, but there's a lot of them. I've seen them and ridden in one personally. Yes, it does work, but at the smaller scale, you know, my limit is 1,000 cc's. Yeah, once we get this guy here together, we'll be doing a video running that off our CFX demo. So that'll be fun. This is a Honda 670, and this is also going to be going with this guy here. That's part of that system. So, and then you know, we got some other stuff that we'll be doing. You know, the kiln. We'll show you how to build a 55-gallon retort kiln system, and then the DIY inverter generator. So the goal of that is to be able to DIY something and then have it in a platform where, you know, you build it once and then that's it. Then when the engine, you know, that's the weak link is the engine. Eventually it's gonna fail. So you want this so that you can easily rebuild it or replace it, you know, without breaking the bank. And that's really the whole entire point of doing that. But anyways, guys, I think I've kept you long enough, so I'm gonna cut the video. And again, thanks for watching.